What's going on, chicken friends? It's Donna Little from the Coop Scoop. And can I talk dirty to you guys for just a minute? Uh, get your mind out of the gutter. We're not going to go there. We're going to talk about dirty chicken booties. And I know that is not nearly as fun as where you might have been going. However, it is something that needs to get addressed every now and then. And before I really get into it, let me say a couple of things. If you're somebody that has even just a mini farm where you sell eggs and you have 100 chickens or 200 chickens, or a little bit bigger farm operation and you've got 300 to 500 chickens, I understand. You're going to maybe even click on this and say, no, girl, it's not going to happen. I am not chasing down one chicken that looks like everybody else so I can clean that butt. So I understand that's a little bit of a different situation than I'm in, and that probably I feel like most of the people that watch my channel are in. I think probably the majority of people that do watch the channel are sort of like me. You just have a backyard flock, maybe anywhere from 4 chickens up to like 30 chickens or so. And this is something that is a lot more feasible, a lot more easy to handle when you only have a small amount of chickens. Most of my chickens look different. So it's easy for me to, let them out in the morning. And if I see a dirty rear end, I can just sort of make a mental note because all of mine have names and everything. But also, before we get into it, if you're new to chicken keeping and you haven't, and you're just about to get your first little flock, or your chicks just arrived and you're listening to this and you're saying, I've got to do what? Like I have to clean their butts. It's not that big a deal, and it's not something that happens that often. But while they're little chicks, definitely be watching for them to have little bitty dirty booties. And it's sort of a different ball game when they're that size, but you definitely need to handle that, because in a chick, it can be life-threatening really quickly if they get poop built up on their rear end, because they're not going to be able to poop. It's going to sometimes almost glue those feathers together, and it'll block their vent, and they're not going to be able to go to the bathroom. So that can definitely be life-threatening. If you see it happen, just go get a warm paper towel and just get that off. If it's already dried on there, when you clean it, just be sure not to pull on their feathers. If it's really, really hard and you have no other choice, just try to maybe run their little rear end under some warm water, but get them as dry as you possibly can and back under a heat lamp or some sort of heat source, because they have a really hard time regulating their temperature. Now, I'm talking about with big chickens, grown-up chickens. And, if you're also new to this and you're like, I got to do it when they're grown up. Every now and then, yeah. And it's not that big of a deal, but it can become a big deal if you don't do it. And nobody wants that. There's a couple things that can happen. And then there's also just the sanitary, portion of that. Like if you have little kids, and I don't have little children anymore. If you do have little kids though, and they have their favorite hen and they want, little Sassy or Betsy or whatever to sit on their lap, and they've got a dirty bum, then now your kids got poop on them, and then they're going to come back in the house and you don't know that it's happened, and that can get ugly really quick. But aside from that, there are a couple of things that can happen that you don't want to let get started. And one of those is, if it continues to build up, it can cause an infection in their vent. And you don't want that. That's going to become an issue because it's internal. And then they're also going to have, maybe reproductive problems down the road. And it could ultimately be fatal if you don't handle it. Also, something that you want to think about is if you live especially, and honestly, I don't know if this is as big an issue or even an issue at all, if you live in a really cold climate. I'm in the South. I mean, we have warm weather probably 9 months out of the year. We have a lot of flies here. We have a lot of humidity, so that, all of that mixed together just makes for, I think I just saw one in the porch, but it makes for a lot of flies. Your chickens can get something called fly strike, and that is just when they have fly land on, and it's going to most of the time be around their vent area because that's where the poop is, and they're going to land on that and lay eggs, and those eggs are going to become maggots. And I know this is unpleasant to talk about, but it's kind of important to know that this is a possibility, because if those maggots hatch, they can go inside of your chicken and they can ultimately kill them a really slow, painful, horrible death if you don't know that it's happening. it is something that's definitely an emergency. But wouldn't it be a better idea to just avoid this happening altogether? So this is why I make a point to, when I see a dirty booty, to go ahead and take care of it. This is also a reason, and I'm talking to you newbies right now, to try your best, if you're going to have a backyard flock, to make your chickens friendly and handleable. I still have some that I handled as chicks that don't really want to be handled. And my main one right now is Willow, my chocolate Orpington. She doesn't mind walking up to me, but she doesn't want me to pick her up. She doesn't want me to handle her. And, you know, we're just sort of slowly working on that. It's been 10 months that I've had her, but do your best to make them friendly. So this kind of situation is something that's just a breeze. Also, keep in mind, if you look out and you see, you notice that somebody has a little bit of a dirty bum, you're probably just seeing the tip of the iceberg, unfortunately. Isabel here has a dirty bum. And I mean, when you just look at it, you go, oh, that's not bad. I'll handle that another day. But right now it's spring and we're already seeing flies. And that is the tip of the iceberg, because when you separate those feathers, there's a whole lot more inside there that you didn't see. So I don't ever want to have to deal with that, with any of my hens. So I've got a couple right now that have a little bit of a dirty bum. So whoever I can grab first, I'm going to grab. If you want to do this, though, make sure you put your glove on. I'm just going to put one on, and the hand that's going to be involved. And do that before you go out and get your chicken, because you're not going to want to try to do that while you're holding your chicken. So I'm going to go grab one, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I've got my chicken, and it was Isabel. She was just laying. You're just going to want to grab them up like a football, booties up. You can see, that's all I could see. But there's a whole lot more in there, and that's what I mean. This was a little bit of a runny poop, and then another poop stuck to that. So I have an outdoor sink. Listen, this sink gets used for nothing but things like this, so don't start having a heart attack. I wash my dogs in this, and I clean chicken booties in it, and that's about it. So she's very calm. She might struggle just a little bit when I hit her with the water, but I love having the outdoor sink because I can get a good temperature going. All right. And then I'm just going to take that and head it in the right direction. Hopefully, I'm very short, so I have to lean in. We're just going to start wetting it. It comes off very, very easily. And I'm sure you probably have the same thing. I have a whole bunch of towels that I use for nothing but drying off my dogs and for drying off chicken booties. You can do this literally in less than a minute. I'm just getting in there. It crumbles right off. She can't flap her wings because I'm holding them down. And honestly, I think it's a little bit of a relief. Nice and clean, nothing on there. I've got a towel right here, and I'm just going to dab it off. I know I'm out of the camera range. And we're going to take her and put her back outside. There you go. Let me get my glove off. Easy peasy. That is done. Literally, I don't know. I'll have to look at the time on that, but it didn't take any time at all. I can literally probably do 5 chickens. If 5 chickens have a dirty bum, within 5 minutes. I mean, because most all of them will just let me pick them up. So it's not a problem. This is something that is necessary. Now I'm not going to have to worry. If you're in, an area where it is really cold, I would say, obviously maybe get them really good and dry. It's 70-something degrees. It's almost 80 degrees here today. But you're also not going to really, if you're in a really cold area, you're not going to have to worry about fly strike, probably, because you're not going to have flies. But it's something it's a dirty job, guys. I know, but it's not that bad. Just like that, clean. Now I just have to get that out of my drain because I've got one of these little guys in there that's dripping water now. Get that out of the drain and it's done. So I hope you guys are enjoying our content. Even if this was a little bit of a gross video, I think it's something that you need to know if you're going to be a chicken keeper and you're going to keep your guys as healthy as possible. It's just, you get used to it. It's just part of the job. It's like if you have a baby, you got to change diapers. You got to keep those rear ends clean. So I hope you guys are enjoying our content. If you are, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And have a great day, guys. I'll see you in the next video.